Alright, ladies and gentlemen, last class we figured out how to write the equation of a line if we were given a point and a slope. Well, today we're going to figure out how to do it if we're only given 2 points and not a graph. So let's review the stuff we already know. We do know the slope formula. We know that it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is our rise over run, the change in the y's over the change in the x's. And we've been pretty good at doing that. We've practiced it quite a bit. We also know the slope-intercept form of the line, the equation of the line, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is my slope, it's my fraction, and b is the y-intercept. Alright, so our first example we're going to do graphically just to see where it comes from. So we have the points 1, -4, and 3, 2. So let's graph that and see what that line looks like. So we have +1, -4, and that's that point right there. We have +3 and +2, which is that point right there. And if we graph it very carefully, we will have this line. Alright, now once we graph it, we can see the equation of the line. We could figure out the slope doing the staircase. We could also see the y-intercept. So let's see. Our y-intercept is -7 here. And our slope, if I take some pretty points, so that's going to be 3 over 1. So I would have y equals 3x minus 7. Now that would be the equation if we did it graphically. But now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to figure out what it is non-graphically. And you're going to say, oh, Mrs. Woolley, why can't I just graph it? Well, what if you didn't have graph paper? Or what if the points were really huge and really large? It's actually a lot faster to do this mathematically. Alright, so let's look and see. If we want y equals mx plus b, what did we need? Well, what we really needed was to figure out where this line started. We needed the y-intercept. That's what we're really trying to find here. Because what we can find, well, we know how to find the slope. We've already been given 2 points, so we can find the slope. Alright, so let's go out here and see how we do it mathematically. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the slope. Okay? Alright, so let's come down here and see what the slope is. So we have our 2 points. So our slope equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Alright, and so we're going to make my second point the y2, so I'm going to give 2 minus -4 over 3 minus 1. Okay, and I know that my negatives are going to become positives, so that's going to give me 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So far, so good. We have a slope of 3. And we can see from our picture up here, that's exactly what we got. Alright. Well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose 1 point. Because remember, we have all these points in the line. There's a whole bunch of points. They're all part of this line, and they all have the slope of 3. So it doesn't matter which point we choose. So we have 2 points that we've been given, and we can choose either one. We can choose this one or this one. It really doesn't matter because they're both on the line. So we're going to choose just one of those points. Alright, so I'm going to choose point 32, and the reason why I'm choosing that is because, well, there's no negatives, and I don't want to have to deal with that, and I might make a mistake with my negatives because I sometimes tend to do that. So we're going to do just like we did yesterday. We're going to take the equation of the line, and that is y equals mx plus b, and we're going to substitute in the stuff that we have to find the stuff that we don't have. And what we don't have is b. So we have an x and a y. So we're going to put our 3 here for our x. We're going to put our 2 here for the y. And we also have our slope. We've already figured that out too. So we're going to put our slope here as well, which is going to be 3. So just like yesterday, we're going to put in all the stuff that we already know to figure out what's left. And what's left is our y-intercept. All right, so we're going to solve this. So we're going to do order of operations. 3 times 3 is 9 plus b. And now we want to get the b alone, so we're going to balance it. We need to get rid of this 9, so we're going to subtract 9 from both sides, and that crosses out. Now we have negative 7 is equal to b. And hey, that's just what we found on our graph. All right, so now all we have to do is write the equation. We are almost there. All we have to do is go back to the original equation, y equals mx plus b. But now we want the equation for all x's and all y's, all the ordered pairs that make this a true statement. So we're going to leave our y alone and our x alone because that represents all the other numbers. And we're just going to substitute in our slope, which is still 3, and our y-intercept, which is negative 7. And now we have the exact same thing we had graphically, just like yesterday. All right, if we flip over the page, now let's try this just mathematically. We're not going to graph it, although we could sketch it later to see if we've done it right, but we're going to do this mathematically. So here we go. We're going to take the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b, and wow, we don't have any of this, so we need to find the slope first. So let's make this x1, y1, and x2, y2, and we're going to use the slope equation. And we're going to substitute in our numbers. And remember, the negative sign is part of the equation. So we're going to have 5 minus 7 over 0 minus 4. Now we know our negative negatives, they become a positive. So that is 5 plus 7, which gives me 12, divided by negative 4. So my slope this time round is going to be negative 3. All right, now we're going to choose one of these points, and it doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to pick 0, 5, because again, there's no negatives, and 0 is a nice, easy number to figure out. But it doesn't matter which point you choose, since they're both on the line, both of them will give you the same answer. So let's see. So we're going to go y equals mx plus b, and we're going to substitute in everything we have. Okay, so let's see. We have a y, and that's 5. We have a slope, which we said was negative 3. We have an x this time, which is 0. And there we go. We plug it in here to see what it is. Oh, see how nice this is? Because 0 times anything is just 0. Plus b is just b. So now we know that b is equal to 5. Now that we have that, we have our m, we have our b. All we have to do is substitute it back into the equation, but we're only substituting in the m and the b this time because we want to have the equation for all the ordered pairs x and y, not just for the ones that we have up there. So now we substitute it in, y equals, and at this point we have negative 3x plus 5. Now this makes sense as well, right? If our slope was negative 3 here, it has to still be negative 3 here. Now at this point, we're going to pause the tape for a minute. You can have a chance to catch up on your notes, and I want you to try the one below on your own. So spend about 5 minutes on your own trying it. Then you're going to collaborate with your peers, and then we'll have a volunteer come up to show their work, and then we'll check it on the video. All right. This is the answer that I've come up with, and just to prove to you that it didn't matter which point we chose. The first time I chose point 2, negative 3 and showed that my y-intercept was negative 7. The second time I chose point 4, 1 and we saw that I still got the y-intercept as negative 7. So either way, just like with the slope, it doesn't really matter the order of which one you label point 1 and point 2. It doesn't matter which point you choose to plug into the equation. And so at the very end, we're going to substitute in our slope as 2, our y-intercept as negative 7, and hopefully that is the answer that you got as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write a summary of what you learned here in class, what things interested you, what things were new for you, how you're going to remember what to do, what things made sense to you in your own words, and then we're going to have a chance to start the homework in class today.